Hello guys, it's Kama, and welcome back to another video. About a couple months ago, school ended and I'm very excited. And after over a couple months of work on this video, today I'm finally going to be talking about the things that I'm grateful about my junior year and when I was finished high school. Now, I don't feel comfortable with even making this video, but I'm doing it anyways. Besides, not many people watch my videos, so... There are a lot of factors that made this the golden year of high school, and I'll be revealing some personal stuff, because that's what also contributed to making the year so special. And without further ado, on to the video, and I hope you guys enjoy! Alright, so the main factor of what I'm grateful about 11th grade is the time I spent with friends. Now I'll admit that I'm socially awkward, especially when I'm the center of attention, but my junior changed that. First by worsening the problem, then by proving it. Also, I don't have a bunch of friends like other people do, but it's not because of my shyness. It's also because I'm picky of who I call friends and who are people I just know. I want to hang around people with good qualities, the traits that make them worthy of being called a good friend. Otherwise, what's the point of hanging out and having a good time if they would only make the experience worse? Now, the few friends that I will mention are Caleb, Jadiel, Ben, and Tyler. But the two friends that I will talk more about are Asta and Claire. The memories created with them are what made the year stand out. I'll now mention 4 of their top qualities and share a few experiences that I had with them. Asta is kind, analytical, generous, and respectful. Alright, so the first time I met Asta was... it was pretty weird. It was the first day of 11th grade, 7th period. I had just sat down in a seat like when this girl walked into the classroom, but it was as if time slowed down. Either that or she was walking pretty slow. Yet at the same time, the lighting around her could let me see spots of color around her, like purple, orange, and white. I was thinking to myself, whoa, wait, did I have a crush on this girl? Then my mind exploded with thoughts. Why did I have a crush on this girl? Who is she? I haven't had a crush since 8th grade. What do I do? Hope she doesn't sit next to me. Fortunately for me, she sat on the other side of the room, but the teacher gave us assigned seats the next week, and the girl ended up not only staying in the class after we were told that this was a hard course, but she sat pretty close to me. After a lot of careful thinking, I made the decision to focus more on my education than my feelings. It wouldn't be long before we did our first lab, which was the rat dissection, and I ended up working with Asa and a tall guy named Chris. That was a fascinating lab. After the lab, I noticed that my seat and Asa's seat were getting pretty close. Eventually, I ended up sitting with her and Claire since 2nd quarter, but we stuck together for the rest of the year, only separating whenever we tested, but always coming back together. I just wanted to mention that Asta and Claire were already good friends. Since when, I have no idea, but I assume since our junior year started. Since 2nd quarter, the 3 of us became a group of friends. I haven't been in a group of friends since freshman year, so I felt anxious and uncomfortable, but I enjoyed being with the girls nonetheless. One time, we had a conversation about relationships, and Asta tells us that she had a boyfriend. I felt pretty happy for her, and at the same time relieved. I did not want to get caught up into a romantic relationship, at least not until college, and this conversation was the signal for me not to get more involved than I had to, and that the 3 of us were going to be good friends and nothing more. I appreciate the fact that whenever we studied, Asta would converse with us, so we understood what we were studying about, and the fact that whenever I would talk, she would be paying attention, showing she cared for what I would say. About a week before spring break, Asta tells us that her birthday was coming up. Claire and I both wished her an early happy birthday, and I had to decide to give Asta something. When I got home that day, I looked at the schedule for the 3 days before spring break. Asta's birthday is on Thursday. On Thursday, we have 5th period twice. Odd. We would both have TA for a 5th period, and if my teacher tells me to copy papers on that day, I could see her during my route and possibly give her some. But the question remained, what would I give Asta? How about knowledge? What? Yeah, I could make her a card with advice. How about tips that I use? Great idea! I spent about a week planning the whole process, from how I would design the card to the moment I would give Asta the card. When the day came, I actually walked past her, but I didn't have the card with me, so I didn't say anything. She was wearing a beautiful dress that she ended up wearing one more time before school ended. Soon the right time did come, and I was ready, but I felt anxious. I told her happy birthday, and I made a card for her. I left right when she looked at the card, and that didn't help the situation. But when I came back to the classroom, I managed to calm myself down, telling myself that I gave her the card, and my hard work was worth it. On the last day of school, I felt very anxious because it was the last day of the best year in high school. After the test, I was thinking to myself again, alright, I already told Austin and Claire about the video I'm working on. I hope Austin watches it because I will say that I had a crush on her in that video. There's a high chance that Austin won't watch my video. I don't think she even knows my channel name. Guess I'll have to tell her about my crush in person. I got even more anxiety because now I would be saying something personal when I know I don't even talk that much. I had a great conversation with Asta and Claire, expressing my gratitude for them being great friends. Then I asked Asta one more question. Hey Asta, wanna know something crazy? Yeah, she replied. I took a deep breath and then I told her, I had a crush on you since the beginning of the year. She showed extreme shock, but her exact reaction was the kind I was looking for. Confidently, I told her, yeah, it was weird, but I survived. That I survived statement was from the test we just took, and originally said, congratulations, you survived anatomy and physiology. I personally found the joke to be hilarious, given all the work we endured, and I ended up using that joke twice with her. You have no idea how happy I felt after I told her I had a crush on her. I've managed to hide this fact from everyone the entire school year, except my brothers and social counselor. And now I'm just telling you guys about this. I'm positive that little moment changed Asta, or at least the way she thinks about me for sure. If I didn't have a crush on Asta, I think my year would have gone much smoother, and I wouldn't have had most of those awkward moments. But I think this was something I need to experience again, and I think I handled it well in 11th grade. Claire is kind, persistent, respectful, and curious. Now Claire is a little different. Back in the second quarter, her, Asta, and I were in a group because we were working on a Bone song together, but that's the topic for another video. The only thing from that project that I will share right now is that I struggled to feel comfortable in the presence of my crush and her friend. Obviously, it was awkward because having a crush in general is awkward, but the fact that this was not my first time being with a crush on her friend was the major reason why I wasn't comfortable. But if I wanted to get the project done, I had to get my head in the game, so to speak. I put my bad experiences aside to work with them, and that decision helped me enjoy the times I spent with Claire and Asta. Sometimes, Claire would quietly sing while she would work, and I saw this as a good thing because she improved the mood, and she was expressing her creative side freely. One time, she was quietly singing a song that I recognized from AJR, and I decided to quietly hum the tune of the song while she quietly sang. I'm not sure if she ever realized I did that. Also, she tended to question why things happen. I personally sympathize with this because I think about this all the time. I call it, what makes people tick? Or in other words, what are people's skills and motives? I use this to understand people and work with them. For example, if I were to offer an opinion or idea, I take other people's opinions seriously and I anticipate in advance if they would agree with said opinion or idea. Sometimes, Claire would have her moments where she would do playful things. I cherish these moments because I felt like the little kid inside of me was having fun. Sometimes she would ask me questions, like she was getting me to talk, and I really appreciate that. Whenever Claire, Austin, and I met up, Claire was usually the first person to say hi. Sometimes she would ask us how our days went, and I appreciate this fact because she showed that she cared about us. In fact, I already mentioned this fact in one of my recent videos. Another time, Claire came into the classroom upset, and Austin and I asked her what was wrong. She told us why she was upset, then she asked me why people acted the way of how they did, but not like me. At that moment, my mind exploded with thoughts. What? Like me? How am I related to this? She knows how I really act? What did I tell her? I ended up telling her that I didn't really know, but I didn't feel satisfied telling her that. I had not expected this whatsoever, and that moment affected the way of how I think, but I saved that for a different section of this video. About a couple months later, I was having lunch when I noticed that Claire was eating alone. I knew that Claire didn't like to eat alone because she mentioned that in the conversation that her, Austin, and I had a few months back. I wanted to do something to help her, and I ended up arguing with myself whether I should go comfort her or not. The self-argument ended with this thought that I still remember to this day. I'm afraid. But I'll go, because that's what a true friend would do. I came to her table and told her that I saw her alone, so I came to sit with her, and she thanked me. My heart was beating like crazy, and my limbs were shaking as well, but I managed to converse with her, even after the rain came pouring down. We thanked each other for the respect we gave each other, and I even managed to answer her questions that she had a couple months back properly, right at the perfect moment. We talked about a bunch of other things, but the part that stood out the most was that I told her about my past and why I am the way I am right now. I only told a few people this, and she was one of them. That ended up being one of the most heartfelt moments of my life, and I am surprised I got to say so much. When her birthday came around, I didn't know at first, until Asta and another girl named Madison said, "Happy birthday, Claire!" Enter another explosion of thoughts. Today's her birthday? I didn't know! How did Asta and Madison know? What would I have even given Claire? When I had the chance to, I wished her happy birthday, and she thanked me. Then she told me that she turned 17 today. Out of curiosity, I asked Asta if she also turned 17 a couple months prior. She told me that she did, and I said, no way. When Claire came back to the table, I told her and Asta that they were both older than me. We were all shocked because it would make more sense that I would be older. I mean, come on! How could I be the youngest and the tallest in the group? Ask that to genetics. And those are all the experiences about Asta and Claire that I will talk about in this video. I intend to talk about those two more, but I have other topics to talk about in this video. I'm just very grateful that I even got to meet them because they are great people. And I had a feeling that I was meant to meet them. Another factor of what I'm thankful about the golden year of high school was its unique schedule from that year. For starters, the first day of school was on a Friday. What? My sophomore year started on a Thursday, and I thought the county was really pushing it. Now it started on a Friday, and this surprised a bunch of people because why would the first day of school be on a Friday? That's just asking for people to skip another day. Honestly, I thought I would be one of the few people to go to Winter Springs High that day, but I was wrong. By a few hundred. Not everyone came to school August 10th, but it was way more than I expected. Also, I wouldn't turn 16 until Monday, so I spent the first day of junior year as a 15-year-old. Yay. My classes that year were awesome. My first and second period were the same classroom, TV Productions 3 and 2, and they were the two classes that did the news. However, second period only did the news on Wednesdays, and that one Tuesday at the beginning of the school year, but still, I was involved in the production of the news for most of the school year. I say most because there were days I had to miss school. My third period was US History Honors, my fourth period was Algebra 2, fifth period was TA 1 for both semesters, sixth period was English 3 Honors, and the seventh period was Anatomy and Physiology Honors. Algebra 2 and Anatomy were the hardest classes of the school year, but Anatomy is the hardest course I've taken so far. It really pushed me to my limits, testing the new skills I've been working on in the prior year. The testing schedules were unique in its own way. At first glance, it seemed random, but given a closer look, it was pretty organized. Also, I had a mock DUI that year, which is usually every other year, but I'll talk about that in a separate video, and I'm currently working on it as of the time of this recording. And to end the school year, the last day of school was after a 3-day weekend, on a Tuesday. Seriously, what was the county thinking of? I know a few people that skipped May 28th, but I just want to say that my junior year was far beyond normal, and I love it! I'm glad that my senior year will start off normally on a Monday. However, I will still be 16 until Tuesday, and I'm confident that I'll be one of the youngest and tallest seniors in my senior year. Also, you know that Americans believe Friday the 13th to be an unlucky day? Well, I was born on Tuesday the 13th, and that day is considered to be an unlucky day for the Spanish, and since I was born Spanish, and that this year my birthday will once again be on Tuesday the 13th, technically my birthday is gonna be unlucky? But what do I know? I don't believe in superstitions. I walked under lots of ladders and passed a few black cats, and I'm still okay. Finally, the last factor for what I'm grateful about the 11th grade is actually two factors, but they go hand in hand together. They are boosting my creativity and having a better understanding of how my brain works. On the creative side, my junior year has been the most creative I've ever been. I mean, I made a spin-off film of Terminator with lightsabers. Okay, that isn't very creative. but also I made 3 openings for the school news. 3 separate little videos for 3 different songs, editing them to how I envisioned them. Alas, only 2 of my 3 openings have ever been played, but I intend to play all 3 of them my senior year, plus make another opening or 2. Additionally, I've been generating a lot of ideas for my YouTube channel, so now I have multiple reasons to continue making videos. If you've seen my channel introduction video, you only see a few of the ideas I have. This may be due to the fact that I spend a lot of time listening to music while also letting my imagination run loose. I listen to music because it helps me calm down and give me concentration, it channels my thoughts and increases my focus. Plus, some of the songs that I listen to gives me hope. Also, I'm aware of the fact that music activates all the sections in the brain, and I've been using it to increase my performance. However, if I listen to what I consider to be bad music, which is most rap, then I get a headache, losing the concentration I was focusing on and slowing down my thought process. I don't mean to go against other people's opinions. I really don't want to do that, but it's just that I've been functioning like that for a while, and I'm not sure why, but when most rap plays, I get a bad feeling inside, and I don't like it. Moving on to the logical side, I'm first going to share how I've changed over the years. Like I mentioned in this video, I was born Spanish, so Spanish was the first language I spoke. It wasn't too hard to learn English, but I had speech problems, so I had speech sessions in elementary. Plus, from 3rd to 7th grade, I had ESOL. Ever since middle school, I became more self-conscious about my actions, and I questioned why I did them. I concluded that problems I struggle with, particularly from home, tend to affect my actions. But instead of figuring out solutions, I picked up a negative influence on the problems and I went into a depression. I felt trapped within my emotions and I wanted to push them aside. I didn't understand them at the time. My religious beliefs were keeping me from doing bad stuff, but they weren't enough to combat my depression. On the outside, I looked okay, but on the inside, I was not. I was mostly torn. I wanted to get help, but I let anxiety build up, so whenever I wanted to speak, my throat would clench, I would get sweaty palms, my mind would go blank, and my depression worsened since 8th grade. It wasn't until 10th grade that I was told repeatedly, over and over, that the skills that I've been learning, I would use them in the real world. I questioned myself deeply, asking myself, am I going to act like this for the rest of my life? At that moment, my brain clicked. It was almost like a snap that transformed me. I knew I was a smart kid, but at this moment, I discovered my true potential. My mind became clear, and I had unlocked new modes and abilities. My memory became stronger than ever. I understood that my emotions were not a burden, but a message that my body sent me, telling me how I felt during good and bad moments. I realized that I could come up with my own solutions instead of moping about them. I then used my creativity to build a new me, a better me. A new me that had a more introverted personality. To satisfy my curiosity, I started forming theories about what was going on around me by spending days, if not weeks, observing the action going on around me. I started deep thinking more often. I was gaining control over my emotions. I even managed to learn how deja vu worked when it hit me one day. However, all of those years in the depression did a number to my self-esteem. Plus, my family still recognized me as the boy I was, not the boy I am right now, and my brothers were picking up on the negative influence. Just one of the drawbacks of being the firstborn child. But I did want to go back into a depression. After many years, I finally felt happy since I was no longer stuck in mountain problems, rather solving them on my own. Even though I felt neglected, I knew if there was one thing that came out of all of this, it was persistence. I strived to keep going, even when it seemed impossible at times and I wanted to give up. I realized that I'm very blessed, and I became more grateful for all the blessings I had in my life. Now this all leads up to my junior year of high school. My new skills were put to the test at 11th grade, especially in anatomy where it was mostly memory based. Plus, my control over my emotions were also put to the test because now I had a crush again. So remember earlier in the video where Claire asked me that question that affected the way of how I think? I'll now explain how it affected me. Obviously, I was surprised by her answer, and when I went home that day, I spent a lot of time reflecting on that moment. Then, it was like a beacon in my brain lit up. At that moment, I created a new ability to use, adaptability. This meant that I now had a new thinking process to form a good response at the moment, especially after sudden change. I mean, this is an introvert's dream come true because this meant better interaction. In the past, if someone asked me any question, I would take a while to respond since I would be doing tons of mental analysis. Plus, if the person changed the subject in the middle of my thought process, they would not get a response, or at least a good one, since my thought process would backfire. Now, because of this new thought process, I now have an extreme sense of awareness, and I use this to analyze as many things as I could, so I could anticipate as many outcomes as I could. I enjoyed this very much because now I felt like Grand Admiral Thrawn, one of my favorite Star Wars characters, since he has the ability to anticipate his enemy's moves. I would form these outcomes by using personal experience, common sense, and information gathered from my observations. So now if the time came for a quick response, there would be a higher chance that I would have it, and if the subject were to suddenly change, I would be on top of that pretty quick. I would still take a little bit of time responding, mostly with my friends since I wanted to give them the most honest answer possible, or sometimes a witty one. Also, I already used backup plans, but now I can improvise better at the moment. Honestly, adaptability really came in handy my junior year. I was able to respond back to Claire using this new ability a couple months after she asked that peculiar question. Now, I will admit that although my skills seem great, they aren't perfect, and I will name 2 reasons why. 1, I tend to be overloaded more easily thanks to all the information that I take in. 2, I still struggle in pressurized situations. And 3, I'm only human, so I do make mistakes every now and then, just like everyone else. Also, ever since the month of May, I've been watching a YouTuber named Psych2Go who uploads videos about psychology. I've been learning a lot from them, especially on self-improvement, and I highly recommend watching their videos. In conclusion, there are a lot of things I'm grateful about my junior year at Westmeans High School, and I intend to talk more about it in my upcoming videos. Additionally, I'll be referencing this video a lot of times in the future because I consider this video to be important and relevant to my other videos. Also, I was supposed to be talking about my achievements during junior year, but thanks to time, I couldn't do it right now, so that's gonna be its own video. But for right now, here's some footage of me throwing away some of the papers from 11th grade. Trust me, there were a lot of papers that I threw out, and I only kept some of them because I want to show them in the future. I apologize that this video took quite a while to upload. This was originally supposed to be uploaded in May, but animating is pretty hard, especially when it's on paper. This is the biggest project I've been working on in the summer, and I think it's quite worth it. This is the longest video I've had so far. And as for my senior year, I'm pretty excited and nervous. I mean, it's the last grade of school before we enter the real world, and it's shorter. And I'm gonna be talking about it more in the video uploaded before we go to school, but that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to stick around the channel, check out my social media and others, and have a great rest of your summer break. Bye guys.